Hello there. Welcome to Dharma Science Radio, where I'm here to provide you with the most foundational, the most practical, the most valuable awareness upon the human design system and how to actually interpret a body graph when you look at one that I possibly can for you in this moment today. My name is Ian, and this one is kind of fun for me, kind of special for me. I haven't listened to a whole lot of his music. I actually don't listen to a lot of rappers, and yet the thing is they get a lot of attention. They're very good at holding a stage and saying something new and different. At least they can be. Some of them are. And today's guest definitely is. And so the first thing I'd like to say for you, Snoop Dogg, if you happen to see this video and you'd like it taken down, I will honor that. However, I would much rather have a personal conversation with you about the mechanics and to witness what could possibly unfold from that. Now that would be really exciting for me. So with the details out of the way, let's hop into this chart. Now this is really special. This is really incredible. The first thing I'd like to say is that we're looking at three wide open centers. This ego center, this ajna center, and this head center are wide open. No gate activations. So this means that in his previous incarnation, Snoop had actually completed all the lessons around inspiration, all the lessons around thinking and conceptualization. All the lessons around what it means to be an ego, what it means to have a heart, what it means to use willpower. These are themes in his previous incarnation he's already mastered. He already knows how to use his willpower, how to come up with thoughts and what actually matters or not. And so in this lifetime, it's not about those themes. Those themes are for the other. What he's really working on in this lifetime is fear. Like he's terrified of life. He has no consistent immune system in his body. And yet he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 activations at least in these 4 gates. So we have an immune system that's ready to ramp it up at a moment's notice and amplify the hell out of whatever's going on and make sure he survives because he's a manifesting generator. He's a 2034. He's here to express this moment, how busy he is. How powerful this channel is, this 2034. This is a very powerful archetype in our human experience. And so to take a step back from that, what's his profile? Well, he's a 1-3 just like me. You see, he's working at the bottom, all the way at the very bottom, with his own specific little way about things. And he's always pushing towards mutation. He's always pushing towards change. He's always pushing towards growth. You see, a third line in the unconscious means we are literally pushing to the limit in every moment, always to find the boundaries, to find the edge, to find the absolute breaking point. It's the nature of what it means to be a third line. We're always pushing it to the limit. And the first line, when your first line is the personality, then you're coming from a foundation that is either fearful, terrified of life, and yet with a little bit of wisdom, it becomes a deep intelligence on how to maneuver in this world. And when you're a charismatic 1-3, because you got a 2034, you're a manifesting generator, you're most likely not as afraid as other 1-3 profiles because you had this ability to express your yes or no, your system, your body's generated life force energy relationship. You got a way to express it. However, the thing is, he's also emotional. He has emotional inner authority through this channel of synthesis, this ability to relate with the fundamental needs of life and to have principles to respond with and hopefully in a good way. Because emotional inner authorities, this is the dominant authority on planet Earth. Everybody else, the other 50% of humanity or so, have to deal with the emotions coming out of somebody like this. And when Snoop is amplifying his fears, because he could be amplifying fears trying to prove his worth, being certain about something that doesn't matter. You know, he can get really wrapped up in things that don't matter, and he knows what he's talking about. He's certain, because if he can pretend to be certain, then that proves his worth and it ensures his survival. And in the mind, in that amplified state, that's all there is. That's what it's all about. Is proving his worth about things that don't matter, because if he can be certain about it and he can convince others, because he's a manifesting generator, very convincing force here, then he can hopefully hold on to something even though it's not good for him. You see, in this undefined spleen, it's all about holding on to what is bad for you, because the devil that you know is often preferred to the devil that you don't know. This was an old school survival strategy from our ancestors. And I'm here to tell you, it is not the way. It does not work that way. Holding on to what's bad for you when you know it's bad for you is not better than letting go of what's bad for you and having the chance of finding something that's good for you. It's a whole different world. You don't have to hold on to the devil that you know just because you're familiar with him. You can let go of bad habits. You can let go of the old world. You can be yourself. You see, he's a generator. Snoop Dogg is a generator with this 360 format energy of mutation. This is about individuality. This is the spark of life that pulls from the infinite potential forms that exist on this planet and gives a whole new order, a whole new limitation upon things. When people like this are really feeling it, you see, it's a pulse of the individual, that they can really feel the pressure and the power of life in a moment. And that moment can last a long time. That moment can really last all night long. They can have a fiery fervor and something is coming through. And if they honor that process, it can be really beautiful. You can have a wonderful brainstorming session where something incredible happens. Or nothing's happening, nothing's happening, nothing's happening, nothing's happening, nothing special, just another breath. Who cares? Nothing out of the ordinary, simply normal, whatever, same old, same old. And then boom, in a moment's notice, everything changes. The whole world transforms into a whole new thing. Over here, this is my favorite channel in the body graph, the 4629. This is such a beautiful channel. This is success where others fail and failure where others succeed. Other people can't do what he does, and he can't do what other people does. You know? He wouldn't be able to do a 9-to-5 in the same way. He just wouldn't be able to. He would fail at it. He'd be bad at it. I wonder how many times he got fired from ordinary jobs because he just couldn't do it in that way that they wanted. And yet the thing is, he's a 3420. He's a charismatic manifesting generator. So even though he could fail where others succeed, that raw power and charisma of the 2034, that can bring success in all kinds of different situations that other people normally wouldn't. Combined with the 1333, this is the power to make sense of the past. This is the power to make sense of the secrets. This is the power to make sense out of what has not been said and yet has been demonstrated. You know, to read between the lines and to make your own words out of what happened and to communicate things in a whole new way that makes sense for you relative to everything you've been through.
The biggest problem I was having was getting my head wrapped around all of the content and all of the information held within the human design system. Ian really made it simple for me to engage my curiosity for one, but made it approachable enough to where I felt like I could immediately get value out of the conversation and immediately start applying things to my day-to-day life where it didn't seem like some big puzzle I had to solve. It was an immediate solution to something that I was dealing with in my life. How am I going to apply this with any sense of reality. And he made it so simple and so easy that I have now been on another year and a half since that first meeting with him and my first introduction into human design. And it has really given my overall life experience and the quality of my conscious experience a great boost, and overall something I would highly recommend to anyone else that's early on in their years, or even months sometimes, like I was at human design.
I've been following Ian for about a year now, and I got the chance to work with him recently. The way that his knowledge of human design expands when you're in his presence to fit what you need exactly is something that is a joy to work with and a joy to see live in person.
Oh my gosh, this session was so unique because Ian really made it feel like I didn't have to worry about expectations. I didn't have to have a certain outcome be a certain way, and really helped me understand that I could just kind of ease my way into this. And he was so conversational about it that it felt like I looked up and the time had gone so quickly that I wasn't expecting it to be as much value as it was for as easy as it felt.
I definitely recommend getting a reading, getting a chance to work with Ian. He's one of the kindest souls I've met and has a really firm grasp on the information in human design. Definitely recommend.
I would recommend working with Ian for anyone that is wanting to have someone that will be both there to nurture your curiosity about human design and the fun things that you can explore about it, but also will challenge you and push you in a direction that will get you up and moving and using it in your real life. I think more than anything else, if you want to not just mentally know this system, if you want to understand how to apply it and use it and see immediate results, Ian is the person I would recommend for that. I think it is important for people to remember that this is an experiment. It is not something that you can try without trying. Like you can't get the flavor of something unless you've chewed it up and swallowed it, right? And this is one of those things where Ian does such a wonderful job of making each thing that you're experiencing understandable, and allows you to apply it with repetition. So it's not just a one-time thing. You learn how to build really good habits and how to build really good ways to honor your own authority in your own life. And from there, he lets you go and then you can fly. It's pretty remarkable how well he sets up my overall experience within human design for the purpose of changing my life, which it really did.
Snoop Dogg is a single definition person. So even though there's this highly activated splenic center over here that's undefined, tons of fears, a terrified mind that can amplify to the end of the earth, what it means that who knows what's coming tomorrow? I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. What can I possibly do to make sure that I don't die tomorrow? What can I possibly do to make sure that my people don't die tomorrow? This is what occupies his head. Most likely, this is what is really interesting, and what really runs through his mind all the time is fears for survival. How do I make sure I survive? Until he made it gigantic, big, and famous, and then the joke is, it's not like this stuff goes away. Even if he was trusting his inner authority and type strategy, even if he was waiting for emotional clarity through his body's response to life, it's not like the fears go away. The fears are going to be there for the entire life. It's the nature of how one was born. He doesn't have a consistent immune system. It means so much. This is our first and it's our primary awareness center. This connects us with all the animals and all the plants on this planet. The fact that we're alive right now, in this moment. And he expresses this moment very sharply as well. I see the 20th gate, the gate of the now, in the 6th line and the 4th line. Unconscious application and conscious wisdom expressed in the now. This is his Saturn. This is his disciplinary force in this life, that he needs to maintain his ability to express right now. And if he's not able to, that's how you know he's out of alignment with himself. Because right here, the personality, Jupiter, the focus on sensibility. When he loses his senses, he loses access to the wisdom and application in the now. This is resonance mapping. This is knowing who and what you are on a deep level. He's a sensible person. He has to be sensible. He must have his senses about him. If he loses track of his senses, then fear goes wild. How insane it must be inside the mind of something like that. I can't even imagine. I got a defined spleen. My mind goes wild too. You know? We've all got methods of amplification. We've all got the ability to be transferred over to the other side and to lose sight of our intelligence. It's simply different for each and every one of us in the details. We can see that Snoop Dogg is a cross of laws. And so if we're looking at this cross, we're seeing the values of the immigrant. We're seeing somebody that has their own relationship to values as an immigrant. So they're not held down by a specific value set. They have a value set that can move to different places and be in different circumstances and shine regardless. What grounds those values is the synthesis of his ordering, his ability to actually create order within himself, his ability for his body to make sense of the limitations and for his personality to create a new synthesis out of those limitations. That's what allows him to actually hold his values together, is that he's synthesizing new truth on the regular. Whole new line, a whole new bar coming out. Today, this second, that second, the next. He's always got new coming through. And in the unconscious, the sun is shining through the stimulation that can bring alienation. I watched a little documentary on Snoop maybe a month ago, and it spoke about how some of his behaviors were alienating, how he wanted to bring people together, and sometimes it was seen as disloyalty. How could you want to bring that person onto our side? I thought you were on my side, not theirs. Not that he was trying to alienate himself, simply that that's what his body does. It can create a sense of alienation and separation from others. And it's through the nature of his stimulation. And what grounds that alienating stimulation but the unconscious earth? The acceptance and conservatism inherent in his nature, that he wants to hold it together. He doesn't want to lose track of everything. His body really wants to conserve the energy. It wants to conserve the resources so that even in times of alienation, it's not the end of the world. One can be alone and stand strong on their own authority and their own power. Because he's obviously not overridden by fear nonstop all the time, otherwise he wouldn't have the success that he does. Even though his mind is going crazy about all this stuff, he chillaxes, you know? He's got it. It's good. As somebody who can smoke so much weed, it's absurd, because it doesn't matter what he thinks. You know, I've smoked cannabis myself as well, and it really helps to let go of thoughts that don't matter. When you have a powerful defined throat defined through this 3420, you can't hold back your voice. Your voice has something to say. Not only that, the 3313 and the 4629. There's a powerful communication system happening here. It cannot be held back. Not only that, because of this 53rd gate down here, this is a gate of beginnings. So in his unconscious, in his design, in his body, it wants to start new things. It's not necessarily here to complete anything. In the mental amplification field, perhaps he feels like he needs to complete things faster, sooner, better than he does. And yet the reality is he's not here to be the finisher. He's here to be the starter, the one who gets it started and gets it riled up. And in trusting the body to make decisions for itself, Probably why he smokes so much weed, so that his mind calms down, so he's not terrified about survival, and he can trust his body and the relative clarity available in the moment to respond. And yet one does not need to be stoned off their ass to trust the body. Sure, if you're amplifying your mind, if you're identified with what you're thinking, then it helps to disable your thinking and to let your body speak for itself. And yet the genuine wisdom potential inherent in this being is so much greater than simply music. And if you're the kind of person who appreciates his music, you've probably heard within it, somewhere in there, there's something of greater depth that others might not notice. So that's all I have for Snoop Dogg at the moment. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I know I did. It's always fun to explore these charts and to see what's available. If you have any questions, feel invited to let me know down below. Leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'd love to hear what you think about this. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Take care. Bye for now. If you have enjoyed the show and would like to learn more about how all of this applies specifically to you, then kindly refer to the link in this video's description, Private Consultation. Here, we can dive into all of the details together in a recorded call. May your signature vibration of satisfaction, success, peace, and surprise find you in a good way.